So everyone is ready. Good. Good. All right. Ready. All right. Let's begin. Toss of one. During this absolutely begins. All right. Uh, so during this war, James Stevenson led a group of militia at the Battle of Wadham's Road. This war featured the Buffalo Road ambush and the British band won the Battle of Stone's Run in this war. A steamboat called the Warrior took part in this war at the Battle of Bad Axe, and Abraham Lincoln was a militiaman in this war. That's incorrect. For example, in 1832 war between the U.S. and the Soviet Chief, which took place in Michigan Territory and Illinois. That's time. This is the Black Hawk War. This man owned a dog whose name meant little old calf, which he used to kill many native people. And this man faced a revolt by Aguilana the Brave. This man who died fighting the Causa was given a contract to find the islands of Benini, and he created a home at Capara in Puerto Rico, naming a region due to its discovery around the time of Easter for maintaining the Spanish explorer who traveled to Florida and was constantly on 10 points for you. One point of this author envisions an ecstasy of fumbling, followed by the exclamation, gas, gas, quick boys. Another of this author's poems sees a soldier escape the battlefield by going to hell and seeing an enemy soldier be killed with a war. This author of Strange Meeting and Anthem for Doomed Youth also wrote a poem that's a phrase on Global Latin. 10 points for you. Chuck Schrammick's image of this object led to beliefs that it was followed by a spacecraft. This was the first comet for which a Sodium tail was found, which was different from prior gas and dust tails, and it was also the first comet where argon was detected. Visible without special equipment for 18 months, this comet's passage was marred by an incident. Neil Bob, 10 points for you. This artist was commissioned by Chancellor Nicholas Roland for a painting in which a red-clad Madonna is crowned by an angel. This artist may have depicted himself in man in a red turban, as it includes his motto, as well as I can, and a man wears a fur-trimmed hat while a woman stands at his side. Good night, 10 points for you. Amid raids, settlers of the Wirral Peninsula established one of these specific bodies in Merseyside. The Law Lock, or Logberg, was where the law speakers. Wait, say that again? No, that's it. At one of these specific bodies. In medieval Sweden, these bodies included one of all the Geats and one of all Swedes. The oldest surviving parliament in the world, situated in Iceland, is an example of, for 10 points, what governing assemblies established in early Germanic nations. Prompt. Legislation. Prompt, and something more specific. Yeah, okay. That's good. 10 points. A pair of works known as the Poem of the Pentar and the Bulletin record the events of this, after which one side captured Upi, taking place along the Orontes River. This engagement is considered the earliest pitched battle. It's for you. In Hampton, a museum located on a gun factory created by this man also has a ship. It's on Rector set and American Flyer trains inventor Albert Carlton Gilbert. This man was credited by Joseph Rowe as being the inventor of the milling machine, and he married Jonathan Edwards' granddaughter, Henrietta. This man visited Catherine Green at Mulberry Grove, and he made a device to remove cotton. Okay, it's our first quarter. Which score it is? Chinese. Okay, so 15 here. 20, 22. Who's going to be captain over here? Yeah. Who's going to be captain over here? Me. Okay, second quarter, toss up one. According to Al-Tabari, this kingdom was defeated by the Sasanian general Waters in two related invasions. Starting around 800 CE, this kingdom's capital was relocated from a namesake city to Kubar. The possibly legendary Jewish queen Judith destroyed his kingdom and legendarily burned all his churches. For example, what's named this ancient Christian kingdom? Actually, 10 points for you. Due to Dumnaus's persecution of Christians in this region, Axum invaded and briefly annexed the Hamurite kingdom in this region across the strait. That's fine. 10 points for you. House Resolution 180 created an early iteration of this sub-organization through which Hamilton Fish III investigated ACLU. Edward J. Hart became the first chair of this committee. That's incorrect. When it attained stadium status in 1945, and under Martin Dies, this group authored a yellow report to justify Japanese internment, bringing espionage charges against Alger Hiss for 10 points. What was this congressional committee, which was central to the Red Scare? This is HUAC, the House Committee on Primary Activities. This man's discoveries include a convergence series for 1 over pi involving factorial terms and powers of 396. This man's lost notebook was rediscovered by George Andrews and contained work regarding the Mach theta functions. That's incorrect. G.H.R. This for 1729 is named after them as the smallest taxicab numbers. For 10 points, this Indian mathematician known for his work with number theory, often considered one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. For 10, in 1919, Ramanujan became the first Indian to be elected a fellow of this Cambridge constituent college, whose alumni include Isaac Newton and Lord Byron. It's Trinity College, so it's a bonus. We go to Tulsa 4. A novel by this author with the subtitle The Sources of the Susquehanna discusses environmental shifts to Lake Otsego, and it takes its setting of Templeton from an upstate New York town his father founded after the Revolutionary War. This author of The Pioneers wrote a novel in which Cora and Alice are captured by the indigenous Magua, who kills them. Cooper for 10. Lastly, Mohicans is part of this 5-book series that follows Natty Bumpler through the different stages of life from youth to old age, and also describes life on the colonial American frontier. And points for you. After she was kidnapped, this woman's husband asked Artemis to kill her. An object worn by this woman at her wedding was made into the constellation Corona Borealis. That's incorrect. After the women of Lemnos killed all the men on their island, this woman's son Thoas was the sole survivor. To help one hero slay a monster owned by her father Minos, this woman gave him a ball of thread. For 10 points, named this Cretan princess who helped Theseus escape from the labyrinth. Ariadne for 10. After being abandoned by Theseus on Naxos, this god of revelry found and married Ariadne. This is Dionysus, so no points in bonus. McKinley Burnett arranged for 13 families to participate in legal action that eventually culminated with this Supreme Court case. 10 points. In Briggs v. Elliott, one of the component cases of Brown, Kenneth, and Maine Clark provided expert testimony involving their study of these objects, which were used to show that children preferred toys coated white as opposed to black. Marvelous. So dolls, so no points in the bonus. We're going to toss up 7. Faux Wind Gap said this event absolutely nothing happened. Squadron 135 was commanded by the Band brothers in this event, which was triggered by the DeSoto program's use of the USS Maddox and What's for you? Faux Wind Gap commanded the Vietnam forces in this decisive 1954 victory over the French, which led to their expulsion from Indochina. It's one of those. All right, toss of 8 lasted a quarter. This object was planned to be succeeded by the H class. This object was initially engaged by the King George V and the Rodney, and this vessel, along with the Prince Eugen, attempted to escape the North Sea in Operation Rheinbone. This ship was severely damaged by 16 very swordfishes from Ark Royal after sinking the hood. Included in a class with turrets for 10 points, what was this large German battleship that was sunk in 19? That's incorrect. 1941. The Bismarck, 10 points for you. The Bismarck was built in a shipyard. This free and Hanseatic city at the southern tip of the Jutland Peninsula, a city that was heavily bombed in 1943 during Operation Gomorrah. This is Hamburg, so you get it's a bonus.
I have 16. I think that's 17 bucks.
Wait, hold on.
61 times. You have that both teams miss two bonuses.
Yeah, 61 teams. Okay, so, and first, among women's suffrage, Italian culinary history in Brazil. Suffrage indeed, okay. So what we will do is I will set the clock. As soon as I begin moving around, I will turn the clock to face you so you can see the clock. I'll read you your lead in. I'll read you your lead in, and then I'll ask you if you're ready, and we'll begin. Okay. All right. So women's suffrage concerning U.S. women's suffrage may be the lead in. Okay. You guys ready? Good. Okay. Right for which women's suffragists fought, allowing them to elect adjective describing the 2,000 women who protested without speaking in 1970. Number of the Constitutional Amendment. Woman depicted on a dollar coin. Principal author of the Declaration of Sentiments, who shares her surname with the Reconstruction Secretary of War. Upstate New York town, naming an 1848 convention at which the Declaration of Sentiments was introduced. That's all six. Good job. Okay, so yeah, they did actually so it's 80. Yeah, so so you guys have Italian culinary history in Brazil. Sounds good. Okay, same deal. I'll put the lead in, I'll ask if you're ready, and then we'll get started. My iPad. Well, right. Okay, very good. All right. Okay, so your lead in is concerning the history of Brazil, Maine. Okay, right? Okay, here we go. International athletic event in Brazil first attended in 1920, nearly a century before, hosting in 2016. Nation led from Lisbon, whose explorers were second most populous Brazilian city, in which the Chrysler Redeemer stand. Neighboring country that favored Germany during World War II, leading Brazil to closely ally with the U.S. Conservative president whose controversial COVID response partly led to his defeat by magnanimous leader, the last ruler of the Empire of Brazil, a title he held from 1831 to 1889. Promise. That is also his. Good job. Okay, so two lightning rounds, which is going to give us a score of 140. Okay, everybody ready? Very good. All right, let's finish up. Eighth quarter, toss of one. Artaphernes advised that one side in this battle sent infantry over the Armenian mountains, but was ignored for a desert trip led by an Arab loyal to Armenians. Upon seeing distant cataphracts draped in blankets, Romans in this battle formed a giant square that was encircled by reinforcements. According to legend, the loser of this battle was shown the head of his son Publius, but had molten gold poured down his service punishment for green for time when saying this 53 BCE Parthian victory against the Romans under Crassus. Carne, 10 points for you. This man donated a substantial art collection to create the National Gallery of Art. A Republican president nominated this man to serve as ambassador to the United Kingdom when Congress brought impeachment charges against him. Sir Andrew W. Kennedy authored a critical biography of this man, suggesting that his economic policies contributed to the Great Depression. The Treasury Secretary for Orange and Harding, Calvin Coolidge, and Herbert Hoover was, for 10 points, one American industrialist, namesake of a college, that's incorrect, alongside Andrew Carnegie. Mellon, 10 points for you. While describing the second pylon of one site, Emmanuel de Rouge first coined the term for this group, who are portrayed on the northern wall of the Medinet Habu. Though not explicitly mentioned, this group may have fought the Battle of Pereire against the 19th dynasty's leader of Mernatap. The Sea peoples. That's 30 points for you. This author depicted Sammy Singer and Lou Rabinowitz, who fought in World War II, in his Closing Time. This author's time in the Army Air Corps inspired a novel in which Doc DeNico refuses to. That is 30 points for Joker Dollar. We are going to toss 5. So let's get score check.
260, 150.
So 260 over here, 150 over here, and 4 bucks. Okay. Ron Nall was a dictator of this country before he 30 points. Good for us. Yes,
Sorry, hang on.
It's good. We got scores out of it. Okay. All right, toss up 6. During this battle, 200 Turkmeniks lined up in a set of 9 rows in the first instance of a certain type of firearms kneeling position. The death of Matthias Corvinus helped set the stage 38 years prior to this war, which resulted in the partition of the kingdom between the Principality of Transylvania and the Habsburg monarchy. Louis II was defeated by Suleiman the Magnificent at, for 10 points, what 1526 battle between the Ottoman Empire, that's incorrect, and the Kingdom of Hungary. That is 10 points for you. These people established a powerful Oyo Empire, which was led by Adeyemi I and invaded the kingdom of Dahomey. Kings of these people were called Oba and ruled in Ile Ife and Akure. And these people believed in the supreme god Olorum and established centers of worship, Orishas. The city of Lagos is the largest urban center of Texas. About 43 million are treated in Egypt. It's for you. This is the last toss out. In the 1852 presidential election, this political party ran John P. Hale and George Washington Jr. And during the 1852 convention for this party, Frederick Douglass was the secretary. In 1848, Martin Van Buren. That's incorrect. 20 points for Gray Soil. So our final score is
River Trail 180 and challenge Ardenwood.
In second place, we have River Trail. Place, our national champions are Challenge Ardenwood.